Hello everyone, welcome to this presentation on organs of immune system. In the previous sessions, we have already seen some basic idea about immunity, immune responses and some mechanisms of innate immunity. So now we are moving into the basic elements or the components of immunity like the cells and organs of immune system. See, as for any other system of the body, any other organ system of the body, immune system also consists of organs, right? And organs in general, we may know that these are the organized collection of tissues, right? The tissues collectively performing a particular function together are called an organ. So immune system consists of diverse organs involved in their particular function, and the function in an immune system is definitely providing an immune response, or is definitely is eliminating a foreign material, right? So here the organs are involved in basically in two types of functions, right? The organs involved in or organs which are counted under the immune system are involved in two basic functions. One is they will provide a site for synthesis of the immune cells, and the second thing is they will provide a site for interaction or elimination of the foreign material, right? So let's move into the content of presentation. So this very basic idea is that immune system consists of different cells, and these cells has to be synthesized from a particular organ, right? And after that these cells will be released into the body fluids like blood and other fluids like lymph, and from there they will migrate into some other organized tissues called the organs, and there actually they interact with the foreign material. So these two locations are what we call the immune organs, and this ultimately results in the elimination of foreign material from the body and thus provide a protection to the body. So organs of the body or organs of the body involved in immune responses have been split into three different categories. That is the primary organs, secondary organs and tertiary organs, of which the primary and secondary are of prime importance. The primary organs, or otherwise called the central organs, are the sites for the cell development, or the development and maturation of immune cells occurs in the primary organ. And we have the bone marrow and thymus are the representative members under this category, where this bone marrow is a site for synthesis of all the blood cells, and thymus is actually will provide a maturation site for certain specialized lymphocytes like T cells. Whereas a secondary organ, unlike the primary organ, this is not the site for synthesis, but rather this is a site where the mature immune cells will interact with the foreign material. This is the actual point of battle between the immune cells and the antigens or the foreign substances. So here we have a spleen and lymph node as the representative examples, right? So this is the site where the mature cells encounter with antigens and undergoes activation, leading to their effector functions, like it may be an antibody production, it may be secretion of certain cytotoxic substances, or it may be activation of some other cells, and whatever be the effector function that will be executed at these secondary sites. So these are the sites where the antigen is actively eliminated from the body, right? And tertiary organs are like, these are like secondary organs itself, but these are less organized in nature, and we have various examples like galt and other lymphoid associated tissues under this category. So this will give you an idea about the location of the primary and secondary organs. The thymus and bone marrow are the primary organs. Lymph node and spleen are the secondary organs, right? So we will discuss each of these organs in detail in the coming sessions. So a primary organ is the site, as already stated, is the site where the lymphocytes differentiate from stem cells and then proliferate and mature into their effector cells, right? So actually here in a primary organ, the immune cells will undergo their synthesis. In short, this is the site where the immune cells are synthesized, right? And not only synthesis, but their maturation process also occurs in these organs. And for that, there is a specialized environment required, and that is provided by these organs, right? So especially the microenvironment created by the interaction of the stromal cells, like in the bone marrow, and also the interaction of or the communication by the cell signaling molecules like cytokines, all those kind of things will provide a microenvironment, and this environment is required for the development and maturation of these immune cells into a mature cells, right? So like in humans, usually from birth to death, these functions, especially the synthesis of immune cells, occurs in the bone marrow, and some part of the development occurs in the thymus for certain cells, right? And in short, you can also say bone marrow is the site of synthesis of all immune cells, whereas thymus is a special site for development of T cells. That is the actual function of these two sites. And these are the two primary organs we are going to see in detail. And before moving into the content, into the organs, we have to see how these organs are associated with the synthesis of immune cells before the delivery or before birth, or from the beginning of the life, from the gestation period itself, how these immune cells are synthesized and which organs are responsible for that. And this particular area of development, what we call the ontogeny, and when we check this ontogeny of immune cells, we can see that from the first week itself, from the first week onwards, there is synthesis of immune cells, right? So from the first month itself, there is synthesis of RBCs and other cells associated with the immune system, but the location is yolk sac. There is no other organs developed, so hence yolk sac itself is the site of synthesis. And from the 6th week onwards, the synthesis will move into the liver, because at that point of time, liver is going to develop into an organ, right? That will be a premature liver will be developed. And from there onwards up to 11th week of gestation, liver will become the major organ, and along with that there will be spleen and lymph node also acting as the organs where the synthesis occurs. Then after that, or after the 11th week of gestation to up to the birth, this will be the sites. The liver, spleen and lymph nodes are the sites in which liver is the major site, right? And after birth, as already stated, it is going to be the bone marrow as the major site of blood cell synthesis, right? So let's see something about bone marrow. So this is the site of synthesis of all blood cells, but we are much focused on, or we are interested on, white blood cells, since they are considered as the cells involved in immune responses. So the major components in the bone marrow, there are cells. Definitely there will be cells. There is an extracellular matrix made up of these cells and blood vessels, right? And within these cells there are specialized cells. The stromal cells are there, the adipocytes are there, the macrophages are there. Different types of cells are there in this matrix, right? And out of these cells there are certain germline cells also, or certain stem cells also, which are responsible for the synthesis of these blood cells. And these specialized stem cells are called hematopoietic stem cells, right? So these hematopoietic stem cells, or HSCs in short, are the site, or are the cells which are developing or which are differentiating into all other blood cells, including WBCs and RBCs. Okay. So, this synthesis, the synthesis within this bone marrow is actually under tight regulation by various signals, right? So there is communication, there is interaction between these stem cells and the stromal cells. Actually, these stem cells will be present in very short number, not in a very highly populated way, but very small number of these stem cells will be present in the bone marrow, right? And there will be more stromal cells and other cells present in the bone marrow. So the interaction between the stem cell and the stromal cells will decide which or what type of cells has to be synthesized from the stem cells, right? And this actually is made possible because of the synthesis of certain cell signaling molecules or certain communicating molecules like cytokines, especially interleukins and other kind of signaling systems in the immune system. So there are both positive and negative signals involved, and these positive signals will promote the hematopoiesis, and hematopoiesis is the process by which the blood cells are synthesized, right? Hematopoiesis is the general term used to denote the synthesis of blood cells from the hematopoietic stem cells in the bone marrow. And the positive signals will promote hematopoiesis, whereas negative signals will suppress or inhibit hematopoiesis, right? And there is one more point to be added to the bone marrow, is that in humans and other mice, like other animals, bone marrow is the site for the B cell origin and development, right? This is given as a highlight because the other lymphocyte, that means the T cell, is not undergoing their maturation process in the bone marrow. That's why this is highlighted here, right? So in short, bone marrow is the site for hematopoiesis, and hematopoiesis is the process by which all the blood cells are generated from a stem cell called hematopoietic stem cells. So this stem cell will differentiate into all the type of cells, including WBCs, RBCs, platelets, and other all the various types of immune cells or the blood cells present in the body, right? So that's about bone marrow. In the next segment, we will see about the next primary organ, that means the thymus. Okay, thank you for watching.